Hello everybody and welcome back to the Better Call Sukan podcast with Arif and Carl. Hello everybody, my name is Arif Daniel, your host for today, and with my partner here. What's your name, boy?
I am Carl of Arif and Carl.
Yeah, boy. Okay, Carl, let's go straight down to the point.
Downhill to the finish line lah.
Downhill to the
Tapi
finish
dia tak
line.
habis lagi podcast.
Yes. So basically, macam orang tahu lagi, it's a trend that we are starting now, right? Before we start the show, kita nak macam bagi teaser sikit about the sport that we want to talk about lah. Because every single time we have new sports. And kita nak cuba nak kaitkan lah dengan apa yang kita cakap. Selalunya tak menjadilah. Tapi tak tahulah macam mana. Alright, Carl. So, sports apa yang kita nak sembang pada hari ini?
For this episode, we're going to corner into downhill skateboarding.
Downhill
Skateboarding.
Yes, downhill skateboarding, guys. Because before this, I did not know yang skateboarding, I know. Downhill skateboarding, I did not know. I know it's a sport. Macam masa kita dulu, years ago, we watch X Games semua tu. Like extreme sport kan. Adalah downhill. Tapi tak tahulah downhill sports ni sebenarnya wujud in this country. And we have today actually a former national athlete.
Correct.
For Malaysia, main downhill skateboard.
Yep.
Wakil negara.
Yeah.
Yes, former national athlete. Tapi dia kata dia dah tak nak jadi athlete, dia jadi coach lah. Nanti kita sembang lebih pasal tu.
Of course.
Yes, dia sangat berbangga ya dengan dia punya kasut skateboard dia. Betul ke?
Ya, betul.
Yeah, dia bagi teaser sikit tu. Siapa dia pada hari ni? Carl, why don't you introduce to all the listeners and yang tengok kita, siapa guest kita pada hari ini?
Alright. Take a trip with us downhill. And ladies and gentlemen,
Let's go.
Introducing to the show, the former national athlete represented Malaysia in 2019 SEA Games.
Yeah, boy.
At Philippines. Mr. Jess Muhammad. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi, thanks guys for having me.
Hello Jess. So panggil Jess Muhammad ke panggil Jess je?
I think Jess would be fine. I mean, if you want to go Jess Muhammad also okay. But
Okay. Tengoklah tiba-tiba terpanggil Jess Muhammad ke panggil Jess ke, gantilah kan?
Sure, yeah.
Alright. So thank you for coming. Former national athlete.
Thank you for
You
having
still athlete lah. Cuma the next SEA Games ni, kalau dia boleh jadi athlete kalau mahu, tapi you nak pass the baton kan? That's
yes,
what we said off
technically.
recording.
Exactly. So any other competitions that are coming up, if needed, then I will participate lah. Represent Malaysia.
Okay.
But if I would rather be a coach at this point of my journey.
Cari pelapis lah.
Yes, betul. Cari pelapis.
Okay, then di sinilah bermula kenapa adanya show macam ni, untuk cari pelapis. Betul. Or maybe dia dah ada pelapis. Kita pun tak tahu. So let's know about downhill skateboarding lah. Hari ni kita nak sembang pasal downhill skateboarding.
Sure.
And before kita nak tahu pasal downhill skateboarding, we want to know about you personally. How did you started loving sports? So
From a young age until who you are today.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've always been somewhat active as a child. My father encouraged us to pergi park. I mean, kita pergi Lake Gardens every weekend. We played rounders, which is basically softball or baseball.
Yes,
on the
rounders.
weekends, family against family. So, it has been a part of my life growing up. And skateboarding was just another thing I picked up.
Okay.
I mean, when I was a kid, same thing. I naik basikal. You went to the park. You do some rock climbing up and down. But then overall, I think skateboarding was something that stuck with me lah. Yeah.
Why was that? Is it about tengok TV ke?
Well,
Ke your family memang ada skateboard ke? Macam mana tu?
Well, okay. For my own personal journey.
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, I grew up in the 90s.
Alright.
So there was a lot of movies and shows that showcase downhill skateboarding atau people playing downhill. On inline skates atau on street luge. And it was out there, and this looked cool to me.
Okay.
Obviously, you're a child, you're growing up that way, and then I'm really looking at it as something that I would like to give it a shot.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, and I live, my house is situated at the bottom of a hill.
Oh ya, betul.
So memang dari kecil, I would go out and naik lah wagon. I would construct all these things with my brothers and sisters.
Ya, adik-beradik semua memang main daripada memang bawa wagon tu sampai
Betul.
atas.
Yeah, exactly. Kita naik atas and then we would try to see lah. Okay, let's get down in one piece.
Sampai daripada Park Guard tu ke?
No. Yes. Dari Park Guard yang on top of the hill. hill there. You know,
Okay.
exactly. So from there we would all go down lah. You know, and obviously we gradually naik. First house was the house in the middle of the hill, then the middle point of the actual hill, then the top.
Oh.
So this was something that we kind of grew up with. I mean, I relegate it to just me being an adrenaline junkie.
Okay.
You know, obviously we did it in controlled situations. You know, like I
Okay.
said, that's to pique our curiosity, like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So after that point, you know, like I said, that was more me exploring phase.
Okay.
You know, but it really did not start for me until I was in high school. You know, and zaman tu ada there's a skate park kat Mid Valley nama X-Speed. X-Speed
Okay.
skate park. It was a big skate park on top near the cinemas dekat
Kat Mid Valley tu?
Mega Mall.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a huge skate park. So I mean, when it first opened, I remember my father taking me there, and then because this was a safe, controlled environment. So
Okay.
all of us went in there, and then we got membership, and then that's where me gaining the knowledge from the skateboarding culture, being around the people with similar interests, and that's where I found like a home lah.
Okay.
These are my people. That's how I felt like at that time, and then. Moving on to later on down the line, obviously I would skate with my friends on the weekends. We would sneak out at night, and then the skate the roads, and that's a skating nature, like, and we would just go out there and find empty spots at night, and then we would just skate it lah. So it wasn't until I was in college actually. I went to college in Auckland, New Zealand.
Okay.
And my campus was at the top of a hill. It's the top of a street called Simon Street. You cross a bridge, there's an old Gothic-like cemetery, and then my college is situated there. It was a White Cliff College of Arts and Design. So I would commute back and forth with my skateboard.
Okay.
At that time, I had already brought a skateboard. This was an old skateboard I had. I thought, okay, maybe, I would skate on the weekends. As a college student, you would think like, okay, something for me to kill time over the weekend. So I would bring my skateboard, and every single day I would skate down. Because my dormitories would be at the bottom of the hill. I stayed in a place called the Railway.
Oh, memang you punya rumah dia semua bawah
Exactly. And then when now you point out, yes, true. My life has been, around bukit lah.
Bukit
atau
lah.
hills,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. So in New Zealand, my dormitory is at the bottom of a hill. It's near the docks. It's called the Railway. It's an old railway station built in the 1900s lah, that they repurposed for university dormitories and accommodation. So I stayed there, but that's where it became an kind of like part of my daily routine lah. After school, I would skate, downhill to my campus. And at that point, you were just doing it because it was fun.
Okay.
I would skate through the campuses. You weave it in and out of the students, and I found, like that's a good stress relief. At the end of a very stressful day. I went to art school. So, it was like morning till afternoon. We have to paint, we have to sit there, we have to draw. And, you take your courses first year. You have to do everything.
That kind of art, fine art lah.
Exactly, fine arts.
Okay.
You have to do everything lah. So first year was dominated by every imaginable discipline. You want to do painting, you're not going to buat sketching with charcoal. So like I say, it became at the end of the day, you get really tired lah. Exhausted. So for me, I found that was a good way to boost my energy up. There's some adrenaline boost lah. So at that point, that is where I would say the birth for me, doing downhill skateboarding, actually became a thing lah. Because I was like thinking, this is a good outlet. Not to say I didn't dabble in it before. Me and my friends back in 2004, we actually did. When we say we sneak out at night and we would skate the hills of Bukit Damansara, on our regular skateboards.
Okay.
Exactly. I mean, we would find out. The thing with downhill skateboard, just to get a little bit technical,
Okay.
Normal skateboards use a very hard durometer wheel. They call it. Durometer means the compound that the wheel is.
Maknanya dia macam wheel dia macam keras lah.
Ya, betul.
Boleh tahan lasak.
Tahan lasak, and
Yes.
it's more designed for park and street.
Okay.
But then we found out that if we use softer wheels, that means a lower durometer.
Okay.
That means the wheels are softer. We get better grip and better roll on the streets.
Okay.
So that's what we did. We sourced out wheels that were small enough to fit our regular skateboards, and that's how we cruise lah. And we found that actually helped in our performance skating the streets. Instead of skating at a park, and that's where we honed in our skills lah.
Okay.
So I carried that forward, obviously, to college, and that's where, for me, going downhill, as a skateboard. And I thought I was a little bit cuckoo in the head because no one else did that. I was always known as, oh yeah, that's that kid who just skates down Simon Street, and people, I would gain a reputation around the campuses as that, just that, oh yeah, that's that crazy kid going down the hill, But then, for me, like I said, again, it was more of an outlet and something that I was really drawn to lah.
Yes.
So flash forward to This was 2009, 2010. At that point, I lost my grandmother.
Okay.
And that really hit me hard. So emotionally, and I had just returned from college and stuff like this. So I lost my grandmother in 2009, and then from that point on, I started just to release my frustration sometimes, and
the
also just to
grief
deal with the
and all
grief.
that, yes.
I would skate.
I see.
And I would skate Bukit again. That's basically my back.
Home base.
My home base.
Personal
again.
home base.
Exactly. So I
Okay.
would do the hills. I call it. I nak khatam all of the hills in Damansara.
Okay.
So I would do that. And I would do it, and I would spend most of my time just releasing energy that way, and I found it provided me clarity. I could think, I could move forward, but in the midst of doing this, obviously, my father would always, pay attention to his children, obviously he notices, my son is doing this. And let's remember, I told you, I was doing this oblivious to the knowledge that downhill skateboarding is an actual thing. For me, I just used the skateboard to go down hills.
Okay.
So what happened next, for me, was really something life-changing. Because like I said, I was using it as an outlet for myself. Just skating, going down hills, getting adrenaline boost. And then all of a sudden, one day, my father sent me a link of a New York Times article. He's saying, why didn't you check this out? That thing you do, you skating down hills and stuff, there are kids who are doing this. Or there are people who are engaging in this sport. And I was thinking, sport? What sport? I was a little bit like, it's an actual sport. Because to me, at that point, skating was X Games. It's the X Games, and it's that arena setting.
Tony Hawk.
Betul lah. And you tak perasan that there is something else, other disciplines that are, available. At that point, the only downhill that I was aware of was called slalom. Means that you go through the cones. You go downhill, you weave in and out, of the cones. It's called slalom. But I was not aware there was something called skateboard racing. Obviously when we did our history, there was something like that back in the 70s. But then skateboarding, when it matured itself into the park setting, they, not to say abandoned some of these other disciplines, but then they were relegated, moved, from that point, because their competition has moved into an arena setting.
Macam X Games
apa semua lah kan. So anyway, once I heard, people are actually skating overseas.
X Games tak ada downhill skateboarding.
X Games actually did feature downhill skateboarding and street luge back in the 90s, 1999.
Bukan zaman Tony Hawk ke zaman
Bukan,
dia?
a little bit after Tony Hawk.
Okay.
At that point, Tony Hawk was more in the 80s category. And then, but in the 90s they did dabble in downhill skateboarding. And that's where I saw some footage first. I saw, wow, the other, you see these hay bales, these guys in suits, going down hills. But then you thought that was just, it was just like a demonstration sport, because back then it was a demo sport. It wasn't a real thing. But then, like I said, because it was featured in movies, it looked cool. So I grew up with that imagery, and I did not click. Like it's connecting the dots after you grown out of it, because you watch all that stuff when you were growing up. And then for me in college, I went to college between the years of 2006 to 2008. And then I watched all that back in the 90s, and obviously you bring it forward, but you did not expect that I did not expect that it would be a thing in the 2000s.
Okay.
Like I thought, it was just a one-off thing, or it was just, like kind of locked in that time lah. Macam disco music kan, disco music 70s kan.
Yeah.
So I thought like, same thing lah. Like downhill skateboarding was just something they attempted in the late 90s to kind of garner interest, but it never really panned out lah. That was my observation of it. But anyway, after I found out it was still practice, it was still a thing, and this New York Times article really opened my eyes onto it. Then I started researching, like videos, and then finally I found videos that actually showcased them skating. And they were skating this place called Mary Hill, in Goldendale, Washington. It's in Washington State, not Washington DC in US. The Washington State, ada US, ada
West Coast,
Washington, the West Coast, di belah situ. So once I looked at that and I saw it, and I saw the people and the camaraderie they had, all their feedback, they were saying, yes, this is it. And, and we like going down the hills with each other. And remember at that point, it was only me and maybe two friends, and then I saw an entire group going down hills in sync.
Ooh.
They were all, like they could read each other, they playing, they bumping each other.
Yeah.
So exactly, so you naturally get, excited. So for me, I got really excited seeing that, and I'm like, wow, I want to do that, And from there, I spoke to my father. I said, maybe I would like to, maybe pursue this or give this a shot. you know, and my late father was a very involved person. He's very, you know, analytical. He likes to really break things down. So he is a problem solver. So you present him with one thing, he would, okay, cool, this is what you're interested in. And both of us started doing a deep dive into, you know, downhill skateboarding as a sport. You know, and then we came across the International Gravity Sports Association. We found the pages. Then we did the registrations. Then my father looked at the logistics. Okay, so how to get from, you know, Malaysia to there? How are we going to execute this plan? Kan?
Time tu Malaysia memang tak ada lah.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off while you're in the middle of it.
Sure.
There's an international downhill. Wait, International Gravity
Sports Association. So it was called the IGSA. So the IGSA, just do a brief touch on this. The IGSA were people from the 90s who organized the X Games. Remember I said like in the 90s I watched some of these X Games. It was featured on TV3. TV3 actually had a showcase on downhill skateboarding 1999. You know, and that's where we saw it. And then I think it was hosted by Afli Chowki back then. You know, and then I was looking at it and okay, I remember, yes, you know, you would see this imagery. And then so all the people from the organizing committee of the X Games who did downhill skateboarding, after they left and because after the X Games decided not to proceed further with downhill skateboarding, they became Gravity Games and all this. So the same organizers ended up setting up something called the International Gravity Sports Association to put all the gravity sports, downhill skateboard, street luge, downhill inline, gravity bike. There's also something called gravity bike where they, you know, atau bicycle lajak dipanggil. It's going downhill lah kan. So all of this was governed under International Gravity Sports Association. You know, and this was in the late 2000s to early 2000s lah, you know. To 2010, to early 2010s. You know, that's when they were still active lah. So from there we found out and then how to register the races lah, and then they had World Championship Series, North American Series, European Series, Australian Series. You know, so that's when I kind of looked at the map and plotted out lah. Okay, which ones do I want to do? And the most viable one, the one that you can play the most races, would be the North American. Okay. Because you can go Canada and then you can go USA sekali lah. So after looking at it and actually going for my first event, so in 2010, we found out how to register for all of this. So, you know, we started doing preparations lah, you know, in order to go to the United States and compete in downhill racing.
Time tu tak ada Malaysia lah.
Time tu there's a couple of Malaysians, but they were students in Australia. You know, I think this was a couple of them joined some of the local races or regional races in Australia. You know, and at that point we already had a gravity sports athlete by the name of Abdil Matzan. He is a street luge. He's a 7-time world champion. Actually, at this point, yeah.
Oh wow!
And and he's competing till today. He's still active. And recently, for our national championship, we had a national championships in Putrajaya from the 21st to 23rd. He also, you know, took home the gold lah for national championships
for luge lah.
For street luge.
This was in June
2024.
Okay.
Oh, time tu luge pun ada street luge
Yes. At the
sama macam Gamuda tu Cove tu.
Oh no, it's not the same as Gamuda tu. You ada steering. Yang ni tak, dia ada steering mechanism juga, but you are fully laid down. Macam you tengah baring.
Oh.
So you kena corner, you kena gerak badan, you kena, you know, you have to play.
You baring menirap?
Bukan menirap, on your back.
On your back, you baring.
You baring.
And
macam ni ya?
Yes, like betul macam tu.
Baring.
Macam mami lah.
And then there's ada bantal kat belakang. Not bantal lah, more of a padding atau a level platform.
For you to look depan.
To look depan, exactly. So the entire time you'll be laid down, you know, like that. Basically, a street luge. So at that point, so we have athletes or people, Malaysians pursuing this sport.
At that time already.
And Abdil was doing it since he was in college lah, you know.
Okay.
At that point, I think he went to college so early 2000s, and also he's been at it for quite a while now.
Wow.
Okay.
So so at that point I tak kenal dia orang lagi. Let's put it that way. You know, when I first went, I did not know about them yet, or know I have met them yet. You know. So when I started looking into how I can go and you know really pursue this sport, you know, we started doing a game plan lah. So what I did was, okay, I plot my timeline from now until my first race. My first race was going to be in Canada.
Okay.
You know, I was going to a place called Vernon Downhill. Was in Kelowna, British Columbia. So that was my first race. So we're plotting out, okay, so how to get there to a New York race next, and after that to Maryhill. You know, 'cause Maryhill was that place that I saw. You know, that was
Yeah, you
featured
said
in the
in the-
article, and that was what me excited. I was like, wow, this place I really want to go, because it looked like it looks like something out of a picture book. You know,
Okay.
the place is very wide open. It has these windmills, you know, around, because in the US they have like free energy, using natural energy kan. Kat sana ada a lot of windmills. So memang tempat tu nampak macam something out of a Tim Burton movie.
Okay.
You know, you go there, it's very open, and this big windmill just sticking out of the ground.
Okay.
You know, and as far as you can see. And they would be spinning. So, you know, like I said, you feel like you it's a surreal place. You
Yes.
know? So anyway, so before getting there, like I said, we're doing a timeline. You know, so that was like my end goal. I say I want to go there. You know, so how do I get there? And at that point, remember, I've been doing skating downhill on a regular skateboard.
Yes.
So I did not know about any of the equipments that
The
existed.
gear semua.
The gear, exactly. It was all different, completely different. I had previously met a friend when I was in New Zealand.
Okay.
You know, after I started doing downhill, my final year there was a group of Americans that came to do one semester.
Okay.
You know, so in the dormitories lah. So I started, you know, being friendly with them. You know, these kids from Oklahoma, these kids from Texas, these kids from Chicago. You know, and started conversing. You know, just you know, that's in college. You know, you want to kind of meet as many people as you can. And it was in New Zealand. It was a unique experience, having these Americans in New Zealand. And then, you know, I became fast friends with them. And one of the boys that I became fast friends with, his name was Nicholas McDowell. He was from Montana. Montana is a gunung tempat juga in US lah.
Okay.
You know, and then he is, and he had this board in his room. I remember one night we were, you know, after dinner, we were playing board games in his room. Then I saw this board at the corner of his room, behind his door. It looked like a surfboard, but then not as big.
Longboard ni?
Yeah, longboard. That was my first experience, or my first meeting with
First
an
sight
actual
lah.
first sight of a longboard. Exactly. I saw it in the corner of his room, and it piqued my curiosity lah. You know, and you know, Nicholas, he was big, his blonde hair, curly hair. You know, he also liked surfing.
Okay.
So I started asking him. I was like, oh, so what is that? You know, I said, oh, that's my longboard. He said, oh, longboard. Oh, so how do you ride it? You know, and like I said, I have my skateboard there, so I see another skateboard type, you know, like
Nampak
item
sama
there.
tapi bukan.
Nampak sama tapi bukan. So your curiosity is piqued lah.
Yeah.
So I went there to go look. Okay, what is this thing? So I started asking. Oh, this is something called a longboard. And I said, may I take a look? So yes, he picked it up. Then I looked at it, and this, you know, having my hands on it, and I kind of like examined the board lah. And I noticed the trucks are different. His wheels are bigger. You know, the design is, you know, it's
width.
The width, exactly. The length, that's why it's called a longboard.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, oh, can I give this a shot? Because I saw the trucks. The trucks, for me, looked like they
Trucks
were
tu
reversed.
apa?
Okay, trucks is where you mount the wheels on a skateboard. Kan
Okay.
skateboard, dia ada papan dia. And then bawah tu ada macam axle. Macam
axle.
axle kereta kan. We don't call them axles, we call them trucks.
Okay.
You know, so for us, for a regular skateboard, they're called TKP, traditional kingpin. That means they are laid out the same way.
Okay.
You know, that means if you look at every skateboard, kalau you ada skateboard kat rumah, you tengok macam tempat letak tayar tu, they all, you know, menghala the same way lah. It's the same thing, just a bar, and then there's a pivot cup, and you know, you put your bushing for you to, you know, lean back and forth lah. So it's pretty basic.
Okay.
But when I saw his trucks, it was macam terbalik. You know, to me it looks like terbalik, and I was trying to understand what is this mechanism. And so, oh no, that's my trucks. They are RKP trucks, reverse kingpin trucks.
Okay.
Why it's called traditional kingpin? Because the kingpin is set in one position. Reverse kingpin, that means the kingpin is macam terbalik.
Kingpin ni apa sekarang ni?
So kingpin is the main screw that holds the truck to the base plate. So on a skateboard, kan tadi kita cakap papan. And then kat bawah tu ada axle atau truck dia lah, nak letak dia punya board.
Dia tayar.
Tayar dia, exactly. So before axle tu, to meet the board and the axle atau dia punya truck tu, dia ada something called base plate.
Okay.
So base plate is the in between lah, yang tempat you mount. So in the base plate ada screw panjang, and that screw panjang tu kita panggil kingpin. Yes, betul. The main pin lah, to hold everything together lah kan, for structural integrity.
Okay.
So with him it's reverse kingpin.
Okay.
So naturally, I got like more curious. What is this? You know, it was like for me, I really loved it because it's like major input. Dapat absorb. Oh, what is this? Very new. This is cool, and at the same time, it's a learning experience. And I looked at it, and he told me one thing that really sat with me. Oh, it's that way because for me to is for better turning radius.
Oh.
And then I was like add two into betul juga. Because on a skateboard, for me to maneuver, sometimes I have to pick up the back. I have to,
Badan kena belakang sikit.
badan kena belakang sikit. You have to do certain things. But this one is more, no, you want to turn, you lean.
Oh.
So after so in the midst of our game, I said, okay, so when we have free time next, after class, can we go for a ride? I cakap kat dia. Maybe we ride around the docks or we ride around the city. He said, okay, sure, why not? So from then, that's my introduction to downhill skateboard atau a longboard lah.
So downhill skateboard ni diorang guna longboards lah. They don't use skateboards lah.
I mean, they call it longboard because obviously dia lagi panjang lah. Tapi longboard ni is actually a term for surfing. It's taken from surfing.
Okay.
Because surfing, they have longboards and shortboards.
Oh, okay.
For their
Correct,
competition, yeah. And then the longer board is the more leisure type, and the short board is the more technical boards lah.
Yeah.
So for skateboarders, because skateboarding is a child of surfing. If you go through the skateboarding history, the first skateboarders were actually surfers. Who actually like okay, cool, like we off season or something for us to do on a regular basis instead of going out and surfing, we will convert these boards atau anything, and they were very the engineering that went behind it, the potong
Tak pernah terfikir pula.
dia potong roller skate semua dia. I mean back then, if you look at the birth of skateboarding, there's another interesting thing lah, but that's also another conversation because we go into that lagi mendalam lah. But the birth of skateboarding is basically that, just a bunch of kids who ambil 2x4 atau papan, and then dia letak roller skate punya tayar. Zaman tu kan roller skate zaman 70
macam disco punya roller
disco
skate.
roller skate tu dia letak kat bawah and then dia on skate lah macam tu. So it was just a device atau a thing that they did when they were not surfing atau something to kill time lah. So this was back then, to history of skateboarding. So anyway, so that's where the longboard term, so for us it's interchangeable. But the correct name now, the official name is downhill skateboarding lah, because it's skateboard. That's all, because we want to try and separate longboarding. If you say longboard, yes, on a more general term, people understand what it is. But then from a technical standpoint, because that belongs to another sport, we would like to just go into the downhill skateboard punya term lah.
Okay, so let's go back to like the early 2010s.
Yes.
Okay, you're preparing. You had that timeline.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go back to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So going back to that, so that was a brief again. So back to that. So the timeline. So I had 2010 until 2011 to plot out. So I used as much as my time to learn more.
Okay.
And like I said briefly, I already gained some knowledge. I already knew what is up, like what I'm supposed to get. So I tried to pursue that.
Okay.
I noticed the gloves, everything different. So you learn on the technical side and the equipment that is necessary to do the downhill skateboarding lah.
Okay.
And I would meet, like the communities. I would go online and try to chat and then do my own research lah. So getting back to like my journey to getting to my first big competition, I started to look at my training regimen. Okay, maybe I would skate here. And we go up to Janda Baik, Janda Baik dekat Gentingnya area tu kan. We would skate the bukit kat sana. I would find other hills to kind of challenge myself lah, bit by bit by bit. You also ask, because like I said, there's a group of Malaysians who also have done it before. They were Malaysian students, and I asked them, is there any places? They gave tips. Go Bukit Tungku, Bukit, but you also have to assess, like safety. It's like, okay, maybe if I go here, it's too narrow. So you need to find a place that was a lot more open lah.
Okay.
So I did that. So I was just more or less, okay, just pergi training, cari wherever I can just to get my skills, hone in lah. And then I came across, and this is where I would say, when you have your mind atau when you have a goal set, sometimes the universe arranges things for you. And for me, in the midst of my own training, because like I said, I'm I don't know what I'm doing in terms of like going on a proper competition basis. And like I described before, my introduction to downhill skateboarding was on a regular skateboard.
Yes.
So I had a learning curve. So I thought, okay, what better way to do that, to get over the learning curve than actually learning lah.
Yes.
So like I said, in that learning process, in the midst of that, I came across just a random post on Facebook about two boys from New Zealand who was skating on longboards atau on like long distance boards lah, distance boards from the north part of Thailand until Singapore.
Huh?
So I came across, there's these two boys, Hugh John dengan Troy. You know, they were from New Zealand, Christchurch. You know, and they set a goal for themselves. They did a thing called skate venture. You know, they were skating from the northern part of Thailand all the way down to Singapore. They had a distance to cover lah, over 3,000 km.
Dia skate lah, dia tak downhill skate lah
Tak
kan.
ada, they skate long distance. I mean, they're like, okay, it's like as if macam you pergi backpacking. Kan sekarang orang pergi backpacking naik basikal kan. Dia orang backpacking tapi guna long distance boards.
Wow.
You know, so I was like, wow, okay. And for me, like I said, it was more or less things arrange themselves lah kan. I saw that and I was like, okay, why don't I reach out to them? You know, because I looked at the route. If you're going from Thailand to Singapore, you will cross Malaysia.
Of course.
And so it was logic lah kan. I put two and two together, so I got in touch with them. I said, hey, do you think I'm able to join you on your journey through Malaysia?
Okay.
You know, so I volunteered as I would like to be a guide and maybe show you around at the same time lah. So I would skate with you throughout the entire length of Malaysia. That was my intention or the idea lah. And yes, to my surprise, they replied.
Okay.
They're like, oh yes, please, you know, like you know, we're looking for people to support our cause and all these other things. So I looked at it, I was like, yes, okay, this is good. This is something that I want to try. And also for me, for my own personal growth in that sport, I was thinking, if I skate with them from the northern part of Malaysia until Singapore, I would spend that time, and also I would be more familiar with my board.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I contacted them and they said, okay, we will let you know before we cross into Malaysia. So they did. They messaged me and I made a beeline straight from KL. I got another friend. I said, okay, can you drive a car? Because like for me, I was thinking logistics lah. Let's have a safety car just in case anything happened.
Okay.
You know, and also thinking for their sake because they have not had anyone other than themselves. So I thought, okay, never mind. I'll bring a car for, you know, just in case anything happens. So I drove up with one friend. You know, we went all the way up to Perlis. You met them at the border.
Ooh.
You know, and from there, I met them there, and I started skating from there.
Dengan ada safety car ikut lah.
Then, the safety car, we sent 20 km ahead. So every day, I mean, and then we came up with strategy. I said, okay, you go out to 20 km, and then you wait. Because for us, we skate 20 km, we stop, rest, you know, minum ke apa, stretch sikit, and then continue 20 km. 20 km, 20 km. I mean, that's how we regulated our movement lah.
Wow.
The whole thing. So, I went there, I jumpa diorang, and this is me just like fresh, you know, baru keluar kereta, macam okay, jumpa diorang pakai helmet, take my gear, and then I started skating with them, you know, from there. Push.
Tapi dia laju.
Bukan nak cakap laju, they pacing. Yes, you naturally think you want to laju kan, but it's pacing, you know, because they have to do distance, they have to cover distance, so they cannot burn out all their energy. You know, so for me, obviously, when I was excited, I started pushing laju lah. Dia penat. You know, dah pergi sini penat. Asal kenapa ni? And then I studied them lah. Oh, they are pushing with two legs. You know, they alternate their kaki. You know, there's a way they're breathing and all this. So I started noticing that, and then I started practicing it lah. So long story short, the whole entire journey from Perlis to Johor took us 1 month. So for an entire month, I skated from the northern part of Malaysia to the southern part of Malaysia with them. Every single day. We would wake up in the morning, awal-awal lepas subuh tu, lepas solat ke apa, we would go for breakfast. And then from there, okay, 20 km. We cross a lot of places. And that's when, for me personally, I love that journey because I got to see Malaysia for what it is. Like every single inch. And it's different because I've been road trip in Malaysia. My father used to take us, you know, pergi Kuantan, pergi Penang, pergi Kelantan, you know. But then the journey from a car's perspective is different.
Yeah.
You know, this is I'm on the road. You know, kita pun kena cari jalan lama, and we had to utilize those roads because we cannot use highway.
And also weather.
Exactly, the weather, the scenery, the people. You know, we crossed so many schools, so many small communities. We actually skated up Banjaran Titi Wangsa to Puncak Titi Wangsa, and then from there down. You know, we cut in from Great. I remember.
Macam mana nak skate up? Tolak lah.
Tolak. It was,
I mean, angkat lah dia skate.
No, tak angkat. Because for them, they had a goal. It had to be on the board. So for me, like I said, it's trial by fire. I went there, you know, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to push, you know, but then once I understood what they were doing, I had to follow them.
Oh, okay.
You know, there was no shortcuts for me lah. Mana boleh macam tiba-tiba I naik kereta ke, I cakap, okay, tak apalah, you pergi, I jumpa. You know, so I had to be a part of their team. You know, so I would skate with them and we would film. Kita bawa GoPro apa zaman tu, GoPro baru keluar. You know, they were also sponsored by GoPro from New Zealand. I had my own GoPro, so we filmed each other lah.
Okay.
So some parts, you know, we would have to do if they found a nice stretch that they wanted to do. Macam I remember going from Great, we used the old road, you know, and then there was a hill that they wanted to do multiple times. kita nak film because they had to do some sponsor content jugalah.
Okay.
Luckily ada kereta. Because if not, the journey nak kena panjat naik turun dah berjam-jam. With the car, okay, tak apa, we drive back up.
Okay.
And we did that, and I saw Malaysia. For me, I appreciated the journey because I got to see
the country.
See the country. And then we camp. We betul-betul camp. Cari old. We jumpa kat Bajan Tito Angsa tu before kita naik ada old rest stop. And sometimes quite eerie lah. Nampak ada kedai lama, makanan, keropok semua ada, tapi orang tak ada. But then for us, it was a very humbling experience. For me especially because we lived off the land. Kita mandi kat situ, carilah tempat mana minta tolong. Makcik boleh tidur belakang kedai, stuff like that. Pagi-pagi ada lah people bawa makan, and we got to sample local cuisine, and stuff like that. And then really, like I said, for me, I got to see the country. I got to really experience and explore.
That's really
from
cool.
that part.
Tu lah.
So this was in early 2011. I did
Ini
that.
pun boleh jadi satu show.
Tu lah.
Okay.
Yes. So okay, so like I say, long story short, it took me 1 month lah, and this was early 2011 at that point.
Time tu belum pergi race
Belum
dekat...
pergi race lagi, because like I said, I tried to use that as my training. Because for me, I've never, like I said, I don't know, I don't know how to compete in that level. So I thought if I give myself enough time on a board, I would naturally become, like
Instinct
one, be instinct lah, muscle memory and everything, which was true enough.
Okay.
Because after that, like I became more comfortable with my board. Because imagine you spend one entire month straight
Mesti
with
ada
your board.
jatuh,
Mesti ada jatuh, mesti ada, so you learn a lot, and then from there it became like your another set of legs lah. So to me, I really thank those two guys for really allowing me to come on board with them, because that really gave me my skating legs. I mean, put it that way lah.
Your friendship grew or just like, okay?
Yes, we still keep in touch, online. Troy has a family now. Hugh is a doctor, so, this was in 2011. Oh, wow. Sometimes I think about it.
Yeah, years
That's
ago,
like 13 years ago. And, So, yes. So, from there, that was early 2011. And then once I got familiar with the boards, now it's time to put practice, like practice into play lah.
Okay, time to go to downhill
skateboarding lah. So, I went for my first race in Canada.
Okay.
I went for my first race in Canada, met them, and then that's my first experience. Oh, ada technical, how to do this, and then you start learning how they were racing lah.
Yeah, because you tak ada coach.
Tak ada coach, exactly. So I had to learn everything through experience. Because I
And
remember
it's just you, right? You don't have partner ke? Tak ada siapa, tak ada gang.
Tak ada.
Like...
It was like my partner at the time is my late father.
Oh, okay.
We worked it in sync that way. So he will, okay, here's the game plan. Here, let's go here. So like I said, we set up the plan lah. We fly pergi Canada. And then Canada, you take the bus. From the bus, nak kena pergi cari Kelowna. So I did that step by step. Fly Kelowna, British Columbia, and then hook up with the local community there. And then they showed me around lah. And then from there, I went my first race. And my first race was a technical race. And I did not know anything about technical. I did not know how to drift my board, because in skateboarding, downhill skateboard racing, there's drifting, there's slide, there's ways to check your speed.
Okay.
So these other skills that I myself am not familiar with lah.
Yeah, okay, I'm sure.
So I said trial by fire.
Okay,
I went there.
Layan je lah.
Just layan je. So for
Okay.
me, I remember the first corner je. Tapi people loved it. My first race was a short race. It was a 1 kilometer race. There was one sharp corner.
Short race, okay.
Short race. But then, because I was able to take that corner, and I saw the crowd, and even the seasoned athletes were like, wow, where did you come from?
Siapa Muhammad ni?
Exactly. Then I had to go, I'm from Malaysia. I said, wow, there's potential, and they would tell me like, yes, you could have done that slide better, you could have done this, but then you are going, you want to win. So they saw that, they knew, even though my skills were still very raw, but then I had the determination. So they were like, oh, so what's your next race? I said, oh, I'm going here next. And I'll be at Mary Hill, because Mary Hill is where all the entire world descend on that one place.
Okay.
The Europeans will come, because
So maksudnya you kena athlete downhill skateboarding ni kena try sana lah.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that is your macam our Mecca atau place of pilgrimage lah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to go there as a downhill skateboarder. You need to experience Mary Hill, because it is unique in its way all over the world lah.
It's not open to public lah.
It is open to the public in certain times, and there are competition dates, and there are dates where you can go there and ride as a member of the public. Just they call free ride sessions atau open hill sessions lah.
Okay.
So anyway, before getting there, like I said, I went through my trial by fire experience, and then I met these people in Canada, and then they were saying, okay, let's see you in Mary Hill.
Okay.
So okay, cool. I love that. I went to Mary Hill, and after I was done in Canada, I went to a small event in New York, and then from New York, Macau. So in New York, my father came. It was a family trip lah. Dia nak datang, dia bawa my little brother. So we went.
Okay.
You know, we went from New York. We took a flight to Portland, and from Portland we rented a car because Maryhill is really in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, memang kena naik kereta
Kena
lah.
naik kereta. From Portland to Maryhill dalam I think 3-4 jam lah.
Okay.
You know,
Road trip lah.
Road trip lah.
Okay.
Lagi sekali. That's why pergi sana tiba-tiba empty. That's why I cakap tempat tu kosong, nampak macam something out of a Tim Burton movie.
Okay.
You know, that's as easy as I can explain it, but it's something that you need to see for yourself lah.
Okay.
It's called Maryhill. Yes, exactly. So anyway, after pergi Maryhill, that was my first big event. And you have races from all over the world. The Swiss were there, the Brazilians were there, you know, the Europeans, and you know, the Australians, and you got to see the entire world descend on this one place lah. So from there, we went to Maryhill. I also at the same time went in there thinking that I was good. You know, and that's the thing lah. Because I've done this so many times. Like, okay, I was quite good. So, like I said, another humbling experience. I had a good experience in Canada, so I thought I can translate it there. So once I got to Maryhill, I saw, this is a different game altogether. You know, they timed me, and I remember my time at the once I got to the bottom was 1 minute behind the fastest guys. You know, that was a humbling experience lah. And I was like, okay, I'm not as fast as I thought I was. So I want to improve. You know. And that is basically, in a nutshell, my genesis, you know, for downhill skateboarding.
Yeah, he's in the...
Is this the one?
Yes, that is the one.
Wow.
Lawa
Okay. So, I don't know if you guys can see this. You guys can search. Maybe nanti our producers will letak this. So, for to the listeners, I'll try to explain to you what I think about this picture. They're something out of a Tim Burton movie. So basically dia banyak windmill kat atas. Macam Teletubbies punya ni
yes,
pun ada kan?
Macam Teletubbies punya tempat pun juga ada.
Teletubbies punya tempat lah. It's all green tapi ada jalan.
Yes.
So you start from the atas, you turun
bawah,
ni.
yeah. It's about dalam 3 km.
Oh.
And this hill, I mean, interesting fact, this was the first paved road in North America.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So they did this road macam like testing lah, kan?
Okay.
To go across that gorge, and so this was the first paved road in Pacific North America.
Oh.
So there's a history behind it as well.
So you all will do all this
Exactly. Yep.
skateboard, all this.
And you can see that's the group of people, you know. And it's a different experience skating by yourself versus skating with 50, 60 other people at one go. You know?
Tak takut ke?
Like I said lah, it's something that you need to experience. Obviously takut tu ada. You have to be cautious, but
tapi dia dah sebulan dah naik skateboard
one thing I noticed about downhill skateboarding is when you in that pack, everybody can read each other. You know, unless you inexperienced, then okay lah. Please understand and stay at the back lah. But the ones in the front, no, you would push each other. Sometimes people belakang you akan tolak you lagi. So you get more speed. More speed dah masuk corner because you also have to figure out if this guy is in front of me and I want to take the corner, takut langgar. So I better nudge him. And for us, we already understand that. Suddenly, pasal tangan kat belakang, suddenly you feel someone else's hand. Okay, this guy is about to push me atau just bumping me, bump draft. Because a lot of it is basic physics lah, aerodynamics.
Betul.
You know, so you have to draft, you have to apa ni, just to go.
So basically, what we're trying to say is like a poor man's... Sorry, not to be rude. It's like a poor man's F1?
F1, exactly. I mean, in terms of racing sports, I mean, as a skateboarding discipline, yes, it is also unique on its own. It's a different genre of skateboarding atau different discipline lah. But from a racing perspective as well, this is also a good introduction to anybody who is keen on racing. You know, because with this, like, you use the same principles.
Yeah.
You know, with racing, like especially in Malaysia, banyak yang suka racing motor ke apa. So I would say this is a good introduction to it. You know, but obviously done in a safe, controlled manner lah. You know.
Wow. Ini pasal
Ni baru early 2000. Tak habis lagi sampai
itu je Genesis lah. After that, I mean, basically it's rinse and repeat lah.
Repeat lah.
Exactly. So I would compete in North America. I did the North American series from 2011 sampai 2019. You know, so I was in the US lah
for quite some time.
For quite some time. Yes, I mean, for me also, it wasn't like I was living lavishly. I mean, like I said, we strategized. My father strategized on how we can, the most cost-effective way to do this.
Yelah.
So what we did, kita jumpa. So in 2013,
Yeah.
I went there with a group of Malaysians.
Okay.
So I in 2012. Okay, sorry. So after my genesis, let me just like put everything in sequence lah. So after 2011, 2012, I went back and I did my first season, solo.
Okay.
I played that lah because 2011 was more introductory and learning process.
Okay.
I buat skate venture. I skated the entire length of Malaysia, and I went to Canada. I went to US just to experience lah. So 2012 was when I learned everything that I could from my experience there, and then refined it. So that was my first. Okay, I'm gonna go out as an athlete, independent as well lah. So I went 2012, and in 2012 when I was in Maryhill, because I had gone there before and I macam determined to improve myself. So in 2012, I met a skateboarder there, and this was, like I said again, the universe will set things into play. Like I said, in the 90s I watched the X Games and all this and blah, blah, and then sampai sini lah kan. So anyway, in Maryhill 2012, I was skating and I had met this guy previous year. 2011, his name was Brian Watt. He's an old Irish guy from California. He's an Irish dude, Irish surfer. So he and I developed a friendship lah. So he ajar banyak my first year.
Okay.
Oh, Jesse, you should do it this way. You should take the corner this way. So I got a lot of input from him my first year lah.
Macam kira tiba-tiba jadi coach lah.
Jadi coach
mentor
sikit
lah,
my mentor a bit lah
lebih
kan.
lebih
So in
mentor.
2012 I jumpa dia lagi sekali kat situ.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, come let's skate. And it was just like I thought it was the previous year punya benda lah. We just skate because this is my friend lah. Okay, let's skate. We skate together. And then he noticed my level dah naik.
Okay.
He said, wow, you're a different beast from the last year.
Yeah,
I said,
okay.
yes, I've been learning a lot. Thank you for giving me the input. And obviously throughout the entire thing, Maryhill is a 4-day event.
4-day event.
4-day event. So I mean throughout that whole, I was with him lah banyak lah because
Okay.
my only friend. This was my first solo race.
Okay.
Tak ada siapa ikut. Like no one, none of my family ikut. It was just me travelling by myself there.
Okay.
So obviously I had to make do with the people I had there lah, or the friends that I made the year before. I had to seek them out kat situ lah.
Okay.
So in the midst of him looking at my skill dan naik, he suddenly say, hey, you want to come meet my friend? Dia cakap, my friend, he runs a skateboarding company, out of California. I think he would like you. He said that.
Okay.
I'm thinking, okay, cool. All right, cool, let's go meet your friend. So I get, after that, macam Maryhill kat bawah tu ada tempat parking bus, van, apa semua lah.
Okay.
So macam after I turun one hill, dia cakap, hey, Jesse, come with me. I'll introduce you to my friend. And I said, okay, cool. I pergi situ, I jumpa, suddenly I saw this guy. Nampak macam familiar, macam I've seen him before somewhere, but I cannot, I tak boleh connect. Macam familiar. Tapi tak apalah, because I was there. Maybe like that was my thought lah. Maybe I tak tahu lah. Americans look similar kan.
Yeah.
You just go on that lah. But I didn't think too much of it lah. Jumpa dia, salam, say hi. Say, oh, so Barney, his name is Brian White. People call him Barney lah. Barney's been telling me that he sees a lot of potential in you. He said, oh, so where you from? I said, oh, I'm from Malaysia. I started thinking, oh, where's Malaysia? I said, oh, it's in Southeast Asia and all this. Oh, yes, okay, near Philippines, Singapore. And we went through all that lah. So I said, okay, cool. How would you like to write for me?
Right for you.
Yeah, because he has a skateboarding company.
Oh, okay.
And that time I tak kenal, I don't know who this guy is. I was like, oh, okay, cool, yes. I mean, quite naive lah at the time. I was like, yes, sure. Excited. I'm like, oh, this guy sees something in me. Hey, why don't you write for me? I run this skateboarding company called Dregs. DREGS. The drag, macam drag is like macam in English term macam like very very street lah. Macam like very very street.
Dia punya vibe lah.
The Dregs life macam dia panggil lah kan. So I pun dengar okay, yeah, cool. And at that point, like I said, this is my own naivety lah. I did not know who this guy was. Hi, cakap tu Jesse. And I pun nama dia tak tangkap lagi that time. Because he was cakap, Barney sir, how would you like write for my company? I said, okay. So I'm like at the same time trying to absorb the information, digest and process.
Dia tak introduce pun diri.
Dia tak introduce lagi kan. So after that, okay, cool. Alright, and before I left, I was like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? I said, okay, why don't you get my contact before we leave Maryhill, and then we will take it from there. And I said, okay. I said, yes. So you are Jesse again, right? I said, yeah, Jesse. Salam, yeah, I'm biker. Dia cakap, nama dia biker.
Okay.
Biker. So I pun at that time again naive, biker, macam familiar tapi tak klik sangat. Tapi I ingat tu nama samaran dia lah kan, biker. Orang panggil, oh, dia ni biker. Tapi dia run skateboarding company, apa nama dia biker? You get my point? Nama. After I walk away, then after that I sat down dengan Barney pun macam like cakap, oh, so yeah, that went good. He's very enthusiastic lah. So yeah, you should follow up with biker. And I was like, biker. Then suddenly macam tiba-tiba when I say it many times, then it click. Biker, yeah, there was this guy, Biker Sherlock, I cakap kan. That was Biker Sherlock. So Biker Sherlock, he was in the 90s the top guy.
Whoa.
He did street luge, dia buat downhill skateboard. Dia macam the grandfather for the sport lah.
Okay.
You know, he was like the first batch yang buat. And Drex, it turns out, is the company that memang zaman awal-awal downhill skateboard, they are the OG, the original companies. You know, they were sponsored by multiple companies, Soba, Water lah, I mean dekat US lah, besar-besar lah. And then I pun macam tengok, oh okay, yeah betul. And then I got excited even more. Oh my god, that was Biker Sherlock. Rasa malu lah pula kan. So,
tak kenal
betul,
pula,
tak kenal pula. And then after that, fikir, and then betul juga. And Biker Sherlock was in a lot of movies back then. Kalau you ingat, dulu ada movie called Rollerball.
Okay.
It's a very obscure movie. All my rollerblade, and then they were playing in the arena. Biker Sherlock was in that movie awal-awal. Dia main street luge, and then he did a lot of media. So Biker Sherlock, he was like the guy, you know. And I was at the same time macam like, wow, macam like
You spoke to guy.
I spoke to the guy, and like I said, this is how the universe arranged. I used to watch this guy when I was a kid. You know, the 1999 X Games, and I tengok macam like some of the some of the imagery of him. Finally, I get to meet the guy. You know, and that to me was a very magical moment lah. You know, and I also felt macam like, oh, determined and proud. This guy sees something in me. You know, so after I returned, after my 2012 season, I started talking to him. You know, and then we started plotting out lah. You know, and okay, this is your suit. You know, we will get you the patches. And I felt good because ingat downhill skateboarding, you kena pakai suit, macam suit racing.
Okay.
You know, and then kalau you tak ada sponsor, you kosong lah.
Okay.
For me, I felt proud because suddenly, you know, me from Malaysia, I get picked up by this guy. I get to put, you know, like patches on my suit.
Okay.
You know, so rasa macam another
F1,
accomplishment lah kan. I get sponsored kan. Macam I can wear the real suits lah. Because before that, I wear an old motorcycle suit.
Oh,
my first season, my first and second year, 2011 dengan 2012, I pakai suit motor.
Okay.
You know, I tak ada how I pakai suit motor lah. So for 2013, I got an actual downhill skateboarding suit. You know, and so 2013 I brought my friends along lah from Malaysia. I found a few other kids who wanted to try this out, and we all band together. So back to like my tenure in the United States lah, from 2011 sampai 2019 kan. So how to start it, like I said, because we were doing it on the ground. Yes, I was sponsored at the time, you know, but then in terms of gear and registration saja. You know, trips and all that, because like I said again, it's a very small market. Even though, you know, Biker came from like one of the OG companies, tapi they are not like the mainstream skateboard companies.
Faham?
You know, so there's also challenges. So for me, I just felt proud enough to be a part of something in my community atau in my sport atau
feel
my
belong
discipline.
lah.
Exactly, to feel belong. So I was grateful what I had, and let's see where I can meet up some more. So for 2013 pula, I started thinking, okay, how can I do this thing, you know, on the lowest cost lah. So I band together with several friends. We decided to go there and then document ourselves. Okay, let's film, let's do this, and let's put together a package lah.
Yeah.
You know, so we film each other. So we went there, four of us. You know, kita pergi sana lah. One ended up leaving early because ada family issue. Tapi three of us stayed lah. You know, me, Syafiq from Sabah. I have a friend, Syafiq from Sabah, dengan Fairuz. He's from PJ. You know, so all three of us, we were there in the US, and then we were trying to figure out how to move lah. Yes, ada kawan-kawan tolong, you know,
and how to make sure, because now you're there.
Yeah, exactly.
Orang kat Malaysia tak tahu you're there. Orang Malaysia tak tahu. You guys, is that your aim actually to document it, to tell that to share, saya orang Malaysia and saya tengah membawa nama Malaysia kat sini, and anyone can do it if you guys want.
Exactly. That was our intention, to show them, hey, we are like you, but we are here and we are doing this. You know, that was like the main goal, was to show them that, hey, we as Malaysians, we can. You know, because we grew up with that Malaysia boleh wawasan 2020. That was my generation. You know, we grew up in that, so we were like determined to show ourselves lah. You know, and my friend Syafiq from Sabah, he had zero experience.
Okay.
And in 2013 when we first came there, we dapat duduk with some students. Some students at that point, dia ada visa punya issue, tapi is a mutual friend.
Okay.
Tapi dia dah bayar apartment dia dah. So he allowed us to stay in his apartment. It's a small studio apartment. When I say small, I mean smaller than this studio. You know, and all three of us stayed there for, I think, the entire winter months. When we were there, we sampai January, kita stayed there sampai April.
I see.
April, actually sampai May, because the student that we borrowed the apartment from, his mother came in May to finish dia punya list lah, nak pack up barang dia bawa balik Malaysia, because dia punya visa punya issue kan. So mak dia datang May, so we dapat jaga apartment sampai May lah. So we stayed there in New York City from the winter months sampai the early spring.
Okay.
You know, and at that time snowing apa, so this these boys that I brought in, Fairuz, yes, he's a skateboarder.
Okay.
You know, so he has some experience, he has apa ni, so he's like my second guy lah. You know, macam my assistant kat situ.
Okay.
Syafiq was more of like kita punya beta model. Macam okay, we want to try and see this guy zero experience, but he was determined. He was very determined to do it. So what we did, because kan we duduk New York, so sampai kat situ winter months kita tumpang a student punya tempat, and then we stayed there lah. So in the winter after the conditions got okay sikit, tak ada snow, tak licin sangat, kita pergi Central Park setiap hari.
Okay.
So we stayed on 48th Street. You know 48th Street West Side, Manhattan.
Okay.
Budak tu punya apartment. You know, so we stayed there, and then Central Park was just I think 4 blocks north of us. You know, so for us it's like it's
Memang
a no-brainer lah.
memang sikit lah.
Memang sikit lah. And zaman tu for us as Malaysians, and especially for Fairuz dengan Syafiq first time in New York, tak apa, a lot of unique experience juga. We skated the entire island of Manhattan. Ada pernah sekali tu Fairuz pergi beli kopi. Pagi-pagi dia pergi lah beli kopi tepi jalan tu, and then he was skating back. Dia cakap, I ran into a movie set. Dia cakap,
Okay.
Dia cakap, movie set apa? Spider-Man. They will film Spider-Man. And zaman tu I think they were filming The Amazing Spider-Man yang Andrew Garfield lah, yeah. So he ran across the production in the midst of that. So it's a unique experience for them as well. So macam like, okay, cool, we got to see the world, we are over here. So again, because Central Park was so close, and Syafiq was very determined to become a skater, you know, to compete.
Downhill skateboarder. Okay.
So he and us, we train in Central Park. So like I say again, dia tak pernah skate sangat.
Yes.
You know, but for me, I use my experience, because like how I got good was because I did the skate venture.
Oh,
Because I was
yes.
skating for a whole month straight.
Yes.
So I applied the same module. Okay, kita kat New York, we as much as we can, we skate. If we need to go to point A to point B, skate.
Okay.
Zaman tu my sister she baru habis college, and she was also living in New York.
Okay.
So kita nak commute, okay, kita kena lah commute to go jumpa my sister for lunch ke, jumpa for tea, atau jumpa any other person in the city, we skate as much as we can. Unless it's too far, then we take subway lah.
Okay.
So we learn all about Manhattan. Kita pun dah khatam jalan-jalan semua. You know, nak pergi sana which side. So we understood the streets of New York lah kan, from there, and we skated.
Tapi mana downhill dia?
In New York is quite Manhattan is hilly. It's hilly.
It is like here. Macam kadang-kadang you jalan-jalan kan, macam kat luar, tiba ada bukit, ada slope. I mean, New York as well, you might not realise it, there are certain sections that are hilly.
Betul tu.
Tak securam macam San Francisco, itu lain lah, tu level lain, tu memang steep habis lah.
Yeah.
Macam New York, no, there's gradual, there's the landscape atau the terrain is, you know, they alternate lah. So ada some parts flat, some parts ada slope sikit, some parts macam tu lah. Macam any city lah. So anyway, long story short, Syafiq, his training was that way. He skated around New York. You know, sampai board dia pernah kena langgar bus lah, kenapa. Tapi our thing, every morning we would go to Central Park, we would skate Central Park.
Okay.
All around Central Park. You know, and every morning itu kita punya routine. So training sampai dia jadi bagus. And this was a kid who did not know how to skateboard, suddenly became very good at it. And we linked up with another group kat situ from Longboard Loft. At that point, there's a longboard shop kat situ, a downhill skateboardnya shop lah, called Longboard Loft, New York City. So we were like, okay, every single day kita nak tempat nak duduk, atau a pot will be there lah, because it's a skater friendly zone.
Yes.
And like I said, we went there bukannya nak pergi holiday, nak pergi tengok Broadway ke, nak pergi apa. We were there to skate kan.
Train.
To train. So naturally for us, we would go there. So we would skate from our place in the Upper West Side, all the way down to Chinatown. Dia punya an interesting part, dia Longboard Loftnya shop ni dekat in the border of Chinatown dekat New York lah.
Okay.
So we skate there. Brooklyn is close by juga, just across the river from there. So we will skate, pergi situ, and then jumpa lah the skateboard community of New York. All the budak-budak kat situ.
Wow.
You know, so from there we went to the shop, and then the shop suddenly like us. You know, oh wow, you guys come from Malaysia, and then we stuck around the shop lah. You know, because kita tak keluar New York lagi time tu. We were just like, you know, we stay in New York because the racing season has not begun.
Oh, dia ada season dia?
Dia ada season dia, because weather.
Okay,
you know, and like I said,
understand.
we arrived there early the year, so still macam sejuk sikit lah.
Okay, faham.
You know, yes, New York ada clear out, tapi the other states are still, you know, experiencing, you know, harsher weather lah. So for us, most of our skating is done in those states. You know, New York pun upstate New York, upstate tempat skiing. And our first race that year was in a skiing resort in upstate New York.
Skiing resort?
Yeah. They're gonna skiing the ski resort. So most of the competitions, some of them would hold it there because skiing resort is a hilly area lah.
Okay.
So they will utilize the access road.
Oh.
So the access road, they will convert it to our racetrack lah. during that time.
So basically dekat the whole this, the US memang it's very big lah.
Yes.
Downhill skateboarding.
Skateboard, because I think it came from there, and then also because their population and demographic, it's sustainable. You know, they have a population nearly 300 million. You know, we in Malaysia about 30 billion, so they about, you know, almost 10 times our size. So you look at the market share there. You know, even if 1 million people are interested in the skateboarding, there is a viable market.
Okay.
You know, atau a viable scene for them to participate in, because it can be self-sustaining.
Yes.
You know, in Malaysia, our challenge would be the numbers. Itu saja. Like I said, we also facing reality lah. We are 10 times smaller than some of these bigger countries in terms of population. And out of that 30 million, how many are going to be interested in this?
Correct.
Yes.
Like I say in US, yes, you calculate that. You know, about 300 million people, 1 million dedicated to skateboarding. That is enough. You know, the 1 million encompasses of the youth demographic and everyone else who's interested lah. You know.
So you've done, so from contohnya your journey. So this is a very cool episode of Better Call Sukan.
Yeah.
Like literally ni pasal an athlete's journey.
Yeah.
We actually for quite some time we've not had an athlete's journey punya podcast punya
Okay.
episode, because we will talk about the sport.
Yeah.
So basically this podcast, for this episode we were talking about your journey
Sure.
as an athlete. So from 2011 till 2019,
Yeah.
you menetap di US to race.
To race, exactly. That was it.
Same goes for Shafiq and
No. So after 2012, Shafiq and Fairuz, yes, they came with me lah
Yeah.
to experience that, and then because I needed a team.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and I also trying to figure out the logistics. But then when we were there in 2013, we concocted a plan on how we want to stay here long term, atau how we want to do this
Yeah.
thing long term in US at the lowest of cost possible.
Yes.
You know, because like I said, we do not stay hotels. Yang tu pun 2013, alhamdulillah ada student yang kasih kita guna apartment dia. You know, because and after that, remember we were going to be there only until April atau May. So we had to plan, okay, in the summer months, where do we stay?
Yeah.
You know, so that's why we started brainstorming lah. We started brainstorming, and long story short, we came up with a plan. Okay, we purchased a van. And the US boleh, you can purchase a van with Malaysian driver's license and Malaysian credentials.
tidur dalam van.
Yeah, tidur dalam van lah. That was the plan lah. We were thinking, okay, why don't we do that? You know, so our plan was to just secure a van. And then because US is big, there's campsites as apa. So we did our research. We're like, okay, if we go here, we stay campsite. Campsite baru $10. You know, kita semua boleh duduk situ. You know, just to rent out the site lah. Some places are free.
Okay.
You know, some places just pergi sign up nama, and so we research. You know, obviously we had to plot out lah kan. So all of us got to think, okay, this is our journey, and we had to go from New York. And remember, New York is on the East Coast,
Okay.
and our Mary Hill is on the West Coast.
Okay.
So we literally had to go from East to West, and kita tak ada budget.
Okay.
We are not going to fly.
Okay.
You know, we are not going to take the train, not going to take MCO. Kita ada gear. We had
Okay.
all of our boards, and you know,
banyak lah.
all of our gear, and also 3 of us. You know, so we found out the best way possible is to purchase a van and then drive and do road trip. And zaman tu minyak kat US also quite affordable. And we found out because the US state by state different prices. And bila kat highway lagi murah. So we decided to, okay, no, that is the most cost effective way, you know, to do it.
Okay, so throughout your stint in the US, how more people in this country dapat tahu, or is it hard to get? Because you said you documented it.
Yes.
Yeah. So the recipients from this country did.
The reception.
The receptions from this.
The reception was fairly normal. You know,
Okay.
like I said, it's a niche spot.
Jadi
So
macam, okay, you exist. Okay.
Exactly, it was expected. You know, that for me it was that. It was more or less like, okay, but you know, like we did not bank on, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, and like everyone is going to like, wow, you know, we did it just to share. That was the intention to do.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because we also understood, yes, there's only that group, and at that point there was only one group, you know, in Malaysia that that really wanted to pursue.
So
the
kat
sport.
Malaysia memang tak ada lah.
Memang ada, tapi like I said, the numbers are very small.
And then dia tak betul-betul solid practice.
Exactly.
Because like you said, it's a niche sport. I do think it's an extreme sport.
Yes.
Yes. So macam dia kena practice to be in one with the skate in order for dia betul-betul nak.
Yeah.
Dia bukan calang-calang orang je lah. Memang kena betul-betul go through the hard
Discipline.
disciplines to in order for you to be an athlete of downhill skateboarding kan.
Exactly.
So now from you race there,
Yeah.
representing Malaysia, but like
Independently.
independently.
Exactly.
So then, like just now when we started the show, we said you off record. You said you represented the country,
Yes.
not independently. This is all after that lah.
After that, yes.
Okay.
How were you spotted? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about that now.
So throughout my tenure, like I said,
Yeah.
you know, how to maintain that. So like I said, we figure out how to do it cost effectively in the US. We you know, and then I started playing the seasons every year, non-stop. I would go there, I would do Mary Hill, I would do as many races as I can.
Okay.
You know, and I would do that. And then in 2015, I got spotted by another scout.
Okay.
And then they were saying, okay, yeah, why don't you? Because I wasn't there all year round. You know, like I said, I mean, kita pergi sana pun because visa restrictions, we are only there 6 months at the most.
Okay.
You know, so I go there 6 months, balik, you know, sini, and then balik sana juga. And because at that point, we had a van apa ni semua, I would stay campsites lah.
Okay.
Sometimes tumpang lah, ada relatives ke, my sister kalau kat New York, tu rumah dia kejap. You know, tapi like I said, most of the racing does not happen the East Coast, happens on the West Coast, so I
Okay.
would travel. You know, so that is that lah. So in the midst of doing that, a lot of people from the southern part started noticing macam New Mexico, and these people were organising other things lah. You know, and then they said, okay, they narrowed it down, so yeah, this is a potential racer.
Okay.
You know, so fast forward, in 2015 already spotted, and then towards the end of it, they were floating around an idea of a Red Bull event.
Okay.
You know, they were talking
Yeah.
about Red Bull downhill. They wanted to do a Red Bull event. So this was going to be Red Bull's first big event. And Red Bull, you understand, like it's quite big.
Yeah, they all the extreme sports.
Exactly.
Semua,
And
yeah.
this was an invitational race.
Okay.
You know, so in 2016, I got invited by Red Bull to
Okay.
join. You know, to go and race. You know, so 24 racer bracket. You know, it was a shortlisted, and then me and other athletes throughout the world.
Okay.
You know, so I felt, wow, this is another accomplishment lah.
Okay.
You know, and even though in the US, I mean, to be frank, it's not like I'm winning races, like I'm becoming champion. No, I was winning heats, but I was not winning championships.
Tak number one lah.
Tak podium.
Tak
Exactly. But
podium.
then I was just proud to be part of it.
Okay,
You know, because
fine.
it's a big event. Sometimes you go to Mary Hill, you're competing against 100, 200 racers at the same time. Yes, there are some races that are easy, but like I said, because of cost and all this other stuff, I had to pick the ones that I race.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not kidding anyone. I didn't go like, oh no, I'm a world champion. You know, I was just a world athlete. That's how I saw it. You know, I was glad to be
fair.
a part of everyone. You know, I
Okay.
did my best, and obviously that's a part of it lah. You know, you win some, you lose some.
Adalah, pernah lah macam high achievements tu
Pernah
ada.
ada lah. You
Yeah.
know, but then like I was good enough that I got spotted.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that was for me, like I felt
Achievement.
that was big enough. You know, because I'm competing against some other guys who are veterans.
Yeah.
Who have been doing this for a long time, who have, you know, who train even more. Because for me, balik Malaysia, nak training kat mana?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because the hills there, once I noticed like what level they were skating at, it was hard to find that replicated here. You
Yeah.
can try to be a little bit, you know, cuckoo, you go up genting, you know, but then the risk is way too high.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's like that lah. You need to mitigate risk. You know, if I were to do that, and if something were to happen, if I went down genting tengah-tengah pagi ke apa, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
You know, so the lack of a practice facility was one of the reasons, atau accessibility
Yang you
to
menetap
practice.
kat sana.
That's why I spent most of my time there. You know, so I would
Okay.
skate in Colorado, I would skate upstate New York, skate in
So in this country memang tak ada lah basically.
ada, but like I said,
Risk.
ada potential, but then it comes with risk, and also the people here are not familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Macam kat sana in Colorado, for instance, you know, I can skate national parks.
Okay.
But then when the cars see us, and we in full gear lah, pakai helmet, pakai our suits, the cars will be respectful, just like how we are respectful to cyclists. You know, so there, that culture is somewhat established lah.
Okay,
You know,
okay,
kat
okay.
Malaysia, we still
Sebab
growing.
nampak kalau kat Malaysia, kalau in this country, if we see cyclist, memang kita macam respect, kita bagi dia laluan and all.
Yeah. So that still Malaysia, because like I said again, it's a numbers game. We have not gotten to that level yet.
Okay.
You know, not to say it's not possible, but not yet. So in 2015, like I said, gonna spotted. Then 2016, Red Bull invited.
Yes.
You know, for an event called Downhill. You know, and I was, like I said, that's another achievement. Like, I got shortlisted to do a Red Bull event.
Yeah.
You know, really excited to do
Okay.
it. So at that point, obviously, I would try to look for sponsors lah. So we set up, you know, I set up call cards, apa semua lah. This is like, okay, I need to look for sponsors because like it's getting real for me. You know, so
Okay.
now it's like, okay, now I'm starting to pursue this at a higher athletic level.
Okay.
And again, like I said, you know, it's not like I'm unlimited funds. Everything I would work some months, save up, and then you know, so and then obviously, you know, some of my parents would tolong, you know, family members would pitch in here and there. It was a team effort lah.
Yeah.
But now, like I said, we have to look at the logistics. How am I going to do this further? You know, so in the midst of doing that, I set out invitation, I got reached out by a big sponsor lah from Malaysia.
Oh.
You know, and it was a Maybank.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
So Maybank noticed me at that point and then decided to, why don't we give this a shot? So alhamdulillah, Maybank did give me a sponsorship for Red Bull, and they were also talking about the potential of making this something that they can pursue and grow lah.
Okay.
You know, so we think about athletic development programs. So I got excited, be like, oh yes, this is something that we can pursue, and finally getting recognized, you know, by your own countries, in one of the biggest institutions, your own country.
Okay.
So for me, it was like, wow. You
Yeah.
know, and like I said again, macam for us is racer, right? You know, we ada pakai. So my suit went from my red and grey trademark suit, which is my suit, to a Maybank colour suit.
Okay.
So I went from red to yellow.
Oh.
So daripada Red Ranger jadi Yellow Ranger. You know, had to wear the, you know, all the logos and whatnot. So you know, you felt quite, oh, wow, this is getting real for me. You know,
Okay.
because it's, you know, it's big in Malaysia lah. So from there, I you know, so Maybank was kind enough to give me some sort of scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah, so I pursued the next 2 years, you know, with that lah. You know,
Okay.
and
So you jadi macam high professional athlete Maybank 2 years 2017 until 2019.
Yes.
Okay.
Itu lah. And then from there, I was still in the US skating, and then I heard about the World Roller Games. Suddenly, like, you know, because just to backtrack a little bit. So with the Red Bull event,
Okay.
it was an invitational. It was done, and that was how I gained sponsorship lah,
Yes.
from Maybank to actually like pursue, you know, on a higher
Yeah,
level.
in higher level.
But then things tak menjadi.
Oh, okay.
So the Red Bull event ended up folding because of some contractual issues they had. You know,
Oh, tak jadi pun?
Tak jadi pun.
Okay.
So they put up this race, they promoted it. I mean, the track is existing. People do use that track. You know, but then they had a conflict because another company had already secured that hill for a commercial shoot. I think it was ada a big car manufacturing company in the US lah secured that slot. So clash date.
Oh.
So because clash date apa ni semua, and then after that I don't know, this is internal lah, so you know tak menjadi, tak ada rezeki lah kau ni kan. So Red Bull ended up like cancelling the entire thing.
Oh, okay.
You know, but I'm already in the US. So oh my god, you know, I got this Maybank suit, I got all this stuff. So how to pursue? So you know, I had to
Maybank rasa you scam ke?
yeah, to reverse engineer the thing lah, you know, how to do it. So I went to New York to Maybank punya office, jumpa dia orang kat situ. You know, and then a few people from Maybank Malaysia were there, so we started discussing lah, so how we can properly, you know, how what was the best course of action, because Red Bull tak menjadi. So we're like, okay, so with this we'll do as many races as we can.
Okay.
You know, so I used that budget to, okay, I went to Illinois, you know, went back to Colorado, went to Washington to do Maryhill again. So I started doing those races lah. So that's where, and then that's my relationship with Maybank lah from
Okay.
there on. So from my season doing that again, and like I said, because I had the track record at that point from 2011 sampai 2018. You know, and then I heard about the World Roller Games, and suddenly, like I said, because satu tak menjadi, you know, one door shuts, another door opens.
Okay.
Suddenly the World Roller Games wanting to introduce downhill. So World Roller Games ni is the World Skate Games. Sorry, it's now called the World Skate Games.
Dia macam X Games tapi
Yes.
different version lah.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
governed by the World Skateboard Association lah.
Okay.
You know, so this one is the entire world. So they have a governing body, and then after this, so it's all skating.
Okay.
Or, inline skate lah, speed skating, inline, street luge, scooter pun ada. You know, for all this. So all of the roller sports fall under this banner lah. So they had the World Skate Games, and World Skate Games was going to be in Barcelona.
Wow.
You know? And then I was like, oh, how do I join this? Because all my American colleagues were talking about, oh, the World Skate Games in Barcelona this year.
Okay.
You know, and this was going to be the first macam like Olympic style event lah. Because before this is all these races that are ran by associations. You know, macam International Gravity Sports Association, you know, International Downhill Federation, and so on and so forth lah. So suddenly ada World Skate endorsing. World Skate is the government. So kalau you want to join anything in a world level, let's say kalau pergi Olympic apa, you kena pergi ikut World Skate.
Okay.
Dia ada dia punya, you know, the criteria to meet lah kan. You have to go. So World Skate suddenly, you know, pulling in downhill skateboarding. So it's exciting. I want to be a part of history juga lah. Oh my god, this is the first time since the 90s that this is like another wave. Kita pun nak, okay, I want to be a part of that. So I pun find out, and this is, you cannot register as an independent athlete.
Oh.
Your country has to send you.
Okay.
So you have to, you know, you have to go under the
Kementerian, all
bukan
that.
kementerian, the federation, your country's federation, skate federation from the country.
Okay.
And yes, obviously, if you're endorsed by the Kementerian or the ministries and all this government, obviously that will also help lah. No, but that has to be how you get registered.
Okay.
So previously, no, it's independent registration. I would be there to register on time. We had to do that, or a manager would do it for me. We do that. But this time, I cannot. So I had to look on how am I going to go to Barcelona lah to compete.
So datang balik sini lah.
Datang balik sini, yeah. So I found out that in order to do that, there is you have to go to Malaysia punya federation. So from there on, I started researching. I found Malaysia Skate Federation lah.
Oh.
So My Skate. They call My Skate. There's a Malaysian Skateboard Federation. So My Skate is doing what World Skate does for the entire world, but for Malaysia.
Oh.
So My Skate regulates every roller sport in Malaysia.
And they did not know your existence?
They've heard of me, tapi because like I said, downhill is a very small niche.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going to put, because there were no competitions that they could send us to, atau it wasn't really in that ecosystem yet lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because from that point on, I contacted Malaysia Skate Federation, and I sent my resume, I sent semua, yes, I do this, I'm in the US. Exactly, anything I can to kind of
hey,
I want to do this thing in Barcelona.
Yeah.
I heard about it and I want to do it. And then from there on, they mentioned, yes, we know. This is so you interested. So this is the steps that we need to take.
Okay.
I had to take courses. You had to take some sort of online thing for the criteria, to meet the criteria. So I did that. Pergi sana and then this is for Barcelona. And then in the midst of discussing about Barcelona, came out for SEA Games 2019. Ada downhill skateboarding juga kat Manila.
First time.
Yes.
For SEA Games.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's for SEA Games.
Yeah.
And then for me, again, this is in that spirit of like Olympic, because bear in mind, in 2020, skateboarding was introduced as an Olympic sport.
Yes.
For Tokyo. And obviously because of COVID and all that, they moved it to 2021. But then skateboarding was finally introduced as an Olympic sport.
Yes.
So for us, we were like excited that it's a part of it. Even though our discipline is not introduced, but then we are at least there.
Family, salah satu family of the
exactly. Someone there. And then when World Skate does this event, and then tiba-tiba SEA Games ada, I look at it, that is the same format.
Okay.
It's like you have it, and it's like this is a world class punya event lah. On that level. World Skate in Barcelona and then SEA Games. So I also at the same time I was like, okay, so how do we go for the SEA Games?
Okay.
For me, So that's where that started. So I went to discussions with the Malaysian Skate Federation. Said, okay, you need stats. So statistics.
Kena kumpul
statistics lah kan. So I sent them my racing history, and then because ada gap sikit in 2018 for me, because I had my daughter.
Okay.
My daughter was born in September of that year, so there was sometimes I had to take off lah. So my 2018 season was a bit scattered.
Okay.
So ada macam but we need like the last 6 to 9 months punya apa criteria lah. Your competition punya history lah. So, okay, tak ada sangat lah. Ada 1 or 2, but I felt it's not enough. So okay, never mind, I will go for Barcelona. So Barcelona I qualified.
Okay.
Yes, and then the Skate Federation registered me under them.
Okay.
So I went to Barcelona along with the Malaysian contingent lah. We had the speed skaters.
Oh, ada lah.
The one yang main rollerblade, tapi yang speed,
yang
ada
laju,
roller hockey pergi, and then we had street luge pun pergi. Abdul also, me and he became a part of one team lah.
Okay. Memang pakai baju Malaysia.
Pakai baju Malaysia, not the official one from KBS. We had our own jersey lah, my skate ni jersey, ada Malaysia flag, but we still, I was proud. Finally I had something with
after
the actual
so
thing
many
lah.
years.
Exactly.
Finally, and what do you feel at that time, the first time?
Very.
Because it's different, right?
It was different. Like I said before, it was like, you are pushing yourself out there. I'm going race to race, driving myself here, tidur sini, and then suddenly, you go from that, you feel very accomplished. Suddenly you get recognized by your entities. So the accomplishment, the validity is there.
Yes.
And for me, I felt like, wow, it was not all for nothing. From me daripada skating in New Zealand, like just that, for me skating with my friends, late at night dekat zaman sekolah menengah, and then all the way to my college years, and then all the way to me skating with those 2 New Zealand boys from Perlis sampai ke Johor. All of that, like, it felt like this was what was building up towards.
Whoa.
It was like, wow.
What a story.
Kan?
Finally, like, all this hard work. And it took years. I went from 2010, 2011 and was recognized in 2018. So that was like a 5-6 year, a 7-year journey for me, like really going hard at it.
Betul-betul grind habis lah.
Betul-betul grind lah, in order to get it. And finally when that happened, I felt really like, I was like glad and I'm proud and really happy, very grateful. You know, oh my God, my journey has
Rasa
taken me here.
memang.
You know, this is it. It's a combination of it. And obviously, yes, my family was proud. You know, any chance they can, they were like, oh yes, you know, my brother, you know, is the professional skateboarder. You know, and then for you going from there, from an enthusiast, you know, obviously growing up, you know, liking skateboarding to finally being able to be a pro skateboarder in your discipline. You know, that was like wow. You know, to me that was really a humbling moment.
yo.
You know, and I was really just glad to do my part. And I was like really okay. Yes, well, what can I do? So pergi Barcelona. Yes, we tried to, you know, we competed, and then towards SEA Games. So we're moving towards SEA Games lah kan.
Yeah.
So with Barcelona, after that I found out okay, there's certain criteria to enter SEA Games. Nak kena buat apa? So I went for Malaysian Nationals. So we had a Malaysian Nationals.
Okay.
Because we put out the memo because for SEA Games. So we need to get athletes. So the Skate Federation put out a memo to all the active skaters in Malaysia. Whoever would like to qualify for SEA Games and to be an athlete have to go through the Malaysian Nationals.
Okay.
So they had a Malaysian Nationals in Kuala Tahan in Pahang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so after Barcelona, I came back from Barcelona and then terus the next month Barcelona bulan 6, bulan 7 pergi Kuala Tahan.
But it's not a certified sport, right? In this country.
At that point, not yet.
Okay.
At that point, yeah, belum lagi.
But they are aiming to bring you to the SEA Games.
To the SEA Games, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I also, like I said, we need to send our stats into OIC, the Malaysia Olympic Council, and we have to send it to KBS, you know. So they have to look at our stats lah.
Therefore, that's why you need to go to Gunung Tahan
Yes.
and all that.
So I went to Kuala Tahan to do the Malaysian Nationals because I'm like, okay, cool. And I've already skated overseas for so long, and at that point I've never joined any local Malaysian events. I did my group. I mean, we have a little club. We did set up macam small events lah, small races. Tapi tak ada yang macam big official punya.
Okay.
And this was like technically the first one because it was going to be counted as qualification for SEA Games.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was endorsed by the Malaysian Skate Federation. So the points that I gained from Kuala Tahan punya race will be factored in lah.
Okay.
And for me, I'm thinking I have to go through the system. Tak ada shortcut lah.
Yalah.
You know,
dah sebab
Barcelona-
dah under bawah country
Exactly,
kan. Tak
bawah
boleh
country,
seorang-seorang,
tak
tak boleh
boleh
drive van ke apa ke.
Yeah, tak boleh. Exactly. So I did that. Pergi Kuala Tahan, competed with you know, about 20 other Malaysian athletes who joined in. You know, and then this was my first time with that, and mind you, I skated with these boys like, you know, in 2010, 2011. I mean, we were part of the community lah, kawan-kawan yang
kenal lah.
kenal. So it was wow. Finally, okay, now we can race together. You know, like after all
Mari
these
kita
years,
tunjuk tarikh sikit.
exactly. So that was it. So I competed with them, and alhamdulillah, I won the nationals.
To kumpul stat lah.
To kumpul, yeah, exactly. So I won the nationals. I became Malaysian national champion lah, technically in 2019. You know, from there, and then dapat pergi Sukan C lah.
Okay, so basically dapat pergi Sukan C.
Okay.
Before we end the ni, so the journey, the timeline, do share with the audience how, because you already said you felt like this is finally is happening, finally you feel valid and all, but just share a bit about the SEA Games when you were there. How was it?
Like I said, a different experience. It was, I mean, as an athlete, you go there, you would not think it as an audience, kan? Audience member, you nampak macam, okay, they pergi sana, but when you go there, suddenly the protocols, you know, we had police escorts, you know, we were put into our athlete for your village, you know, and then you meet all the other Southeast Asian athletes, you know, and then it was a really good macam melting pot, because for me, my experience at that point is in North America. Now I get to be with the Southeast Asian people, skateboarders, but then the experience itself was completely different.
How about the contohnya some people macam you main dekat Amerika, dia punya level and dia punya vibe of people, the intensity, is it different from the Southeast Asia when you were in the SEA Games?
I would say yes, because and then here's the main point. In the SEA Games, most of those athletes are very humble because it was our first time. Like
okay.
Thailand,
just excited to be there.
Because even Thailand before the SEA Games, Thailand lagi lah, they really went through like boot camp cepat-cepat. In order for them to go, for the SEA Games, for them to qualify. So for them, that was their first big event. ever.
Okay.
You know, and that year itself was the year they all suddenly like tried to go on that level lah.
Yeah.
So to meet them, and the Filipinos, yes, because Philippines are the oldest ones practicing the sport in our region.
Okay.
You know, they have seasoned athletes lah, but then they are, because their nature is also macam kita. I think we all share kan Nusantara ni area ni, that same culture. So all of us are more like welcoming to each other lah. It wasn't like you are from Philippines. Oh, you from where? You from Thailand?
Tak ada, just get together.
No, we were just like, we're happy lah. And for us also, because when we arrived at the SEA Games, suddenly a typhoon hit.
Alamak. Okay.
So all of us had to stay in our athletes accommodation for that 1 week, and that's where we all bonded lah, sharing stories, buat training kat gym.
Cuma bila time competition?
Well, bila time competition, yeah, exactly. We go lah.
After that, belakang competition sembang.
Yeah.
Memang community lah.
Macam community lah. The downhill family lah.
Downhill, that's a nice way.
We were the part of the downhill family.
So basically, who do you get to achieve
Podium?
anything? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for the SEA Games, us Malaysia team, we came home with 2 medals. The female, Grace Wong, she won gold.
Oh.
And then my teammate, Lokman Khalid, for the men's, he won bronze.
Okay.
I won consolation.
Okay.
So there's 2. So after your brackets are sorted out, I mean you go up again. So I won the second bracket. So tak podium lah.
Okay.
Tapi technically in ranking, I came in about 5th.
Alright.
Let's put it that way.
Overall, from start sampai sekarang, that was the last of you ni. So because COVID hit and then
Yes.
then slow down and all this, tak ada apa.
Tak ada apa sangat.
So that's it ke or what? What's
I think we
next?
need to do a part.
Yeah.
Part 2.
We need to do part 2 for sure. But
For my athletic journey, yes. I mean, I would say that was my last big event was in the SEA Games.
I do feel like kepada sesiapa yang tengah dengar the whole ni, we apologize for being a bit long, but it was like macam tengok movie.
Dua.
Like it's like your journey, and it's beautiful actually.
Thank you.
And it's just something that you only you je tahu how it feels like, and
how you articulate the visualization. I think the audience will appreciate that.
yeah, we really appreciate like how you, because menang kalah tu lain cerita.
Yeah.
Yang penting is just for you have the love daripada kecil, sebab rumah you bawah jalan nak masuk pagat tu atas bukit turun. You just did that.
Betul.
You jadi nakal ke apa ke. And then it literally made you who you are today.
Yeah.
Which is living the dream lah. Basically, you live the dream.
I try, you know.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's really inspiring to hear. And thank you so much for like literally sharing like from zero to literally being a national hero.
Itulah, lagipun we haven't gone to the technical side. We're gonna do a part 2 lah.
We're going to do part 2 for sure. We will call you for part 2. But just before we wrap up, to ask you the quick fire questions, what is next that you feel? For personal lah. Kita tak cakap pasal community pun. Cakap for personal je. Is there anything?
comeback.
A
Is
comeback
there a comeback
ke?
story?
Is there something that you feel like you want to go back to the States ke?
I mean, obviously, eventually, just to skate, yes, you know. But I feel, you see, like I already had a very colorful experience.
Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate that. You know, and for me, I also am aware of like I cannot keep doing this forever. You know, now I have 3 children already. You know, and I also want to kind of like pave the way for them. And I see the younger Malaysians. I see the drive, the determination that they have. I also want to maybe help nurture that with them. So for me, yes, I had a very colorful journey. I had a very good experience. I've grown a lot from that.
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about the sport, so I would love to give back.
Okay.
For me right now, it's not so much of like my personal journey. Yes, I would like to maybe take the next step lah. So that, but the athlete, I would like to move into the more coaching phase and really get into, you know, nurturing the next talents. Because I understand my time. My time was that. When in the whole conversation, I described that was my time, my era. You know,
maybe it's not the same.
Exactly.
Maybe the pelapis tu is not the same.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. Tak adalah kena, maybe like need to go from Perlis ke Johor tu, tak tahulah, tiba-tiba dia kalau nak coach, dia kena jadi coach. Okay, you want to be my student, you kena datang ikut I jadi safety car. We don't know kan. Tak tahulah kan cara dia.
See, because I grew up with this thing. My father, he's a man of many talents lah. One thing he's very good at is putting things in perspective for me. I mean, one thing that I've always grown up with, because I'm very passionate about things. So if you're passionate about things, what does that mean? It means you love something.
Yeah.
And when you love something, nothing is too much trouble, and there is always time. So to me, when I've grown up listening to that, and yes, I do love this. It's not too much trouble for me, and I will always make time. So like I said, if you guys want to, share, talk some more, or we get into this, I'm more than happy to share my
I think
experience.
the next one we should do on site lah, because we need to know more of the technical side.
Pergi kat rumah dia. Alright, let's go to the super quick fire question. Who's your favorite athlete of all time?
And coach.
Yeah.
Of all time,
Tak kisahlah sukan apa ke, but yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't have one.
Oh, okay.
I like to draw in. I mean, people inspire me in different ways.
Yeah.
I don't like to just hone in on. I can learn everything from every single person I attach with. And that's it. I mean, I am inspired by a lot of people, and they come from all kinds of backgrounds. Some are athletes, some are philosophers, some are, and I feel you can gain a lot from that. For me, yes, I mean, skateboarders, obviously you are the Christian Hosoi, you got Tony Hawk, you have Rodney Mullen, and Biker Sherlock, definitely. These are people who, they are big, but I like I said,
big shot lah.
Yeah, big shot. But I would like to see how much I can learn from each.
So tak ada favourite lah.
Yeah, tak ada favourite semua. Yeah,
Valid.
Valid.
For me, anyone I encounter, you could be just a random guy I'm having a conversation with across the street. That person might inspire me.
Very nice.
Fair. Okay, so as we noted before we came on recording, Better Call Sukan is a sports that we want to give all sports a chance.
Even athlete.
Even athlete. So the question is there a sport that you want us to call that you macam nak belajar? One. And number two is, who do you want us to call in the future? Anyone.
Yeah, one sport yang you nak belajar, you rasa you nak belajar, or tak tahu lagi. And one more is, who do you want to call?
Who do you want us to call?
Yeah.
I mean, to be frank, I like archery a lot.
Oh,
okay.
So that I would
memanah. Kita pun tak panggil lagi memanah kan.
Tu lah.
Yeah, memanah pun ada, is an Malaysia ada representative for Olympics. Yeah. Alright.
So for me, I mean, it might be kind of like odd, but then I would also like to see this,
we've heard a lot more. We had underwater hockey, curling,
water polo.
Wow.
Because like I said, I like to absorb knowledge.
So the sports that you want us to call, for this show is water polo.
Archery.
Tu you nak belajar. Tapi yang kalau you rasa, for both lah.
For both lah.
Both lah. Nak boy.
Alright.
And also who do you want us to call? Any particular guest?
Yeah, any particular guest.
I feel, Abdul could be good as well. Abdul Mazan.
Okay.
He's a street luge world champion. And
7 times
7 times, yes.
Macam Lewis Hamilton, 7 times
and
world
he
champion.
recently, he had to drop out of a race when he was in Turkey because there was a technical issue with his equipment, and then, he crashed lah. Tapi so he pulled out of that. It was not a major crash, it was a minor crash, but then he also took the safer route. Okay, I'm not going to compete lah ni kan, and try to focus on recovery. But yeah, I would say he's still very active at it.
Okay.
And he still goes around, and the next the next event for him, I feel like he would like to regain his championship title lah, lagi sekali for this year kan.
Cool.
Okay. Kita ada banyak, you said ada banyak sports movies yang you tengok while you growing up. Is there any favourite fictional character from
a
any
sporting movie?
Sporting movie series. Kalau favourite ada, silakan.
Kalau you pernah tengok Goofy movie tak?
So that's your favourite skateboard punya.
I grew up watching Goofy movie. Anak dia Max.
Max.
Yeah. You see how they skate again. Yeah, that was, as a kid, I wanted to do that. Like, oh wow, dia balik sekolah, dia tengok dia masuk sini, masuk situ. For me, for fictional hero, yes. Masuk pipe apa semua kan.
Yeah. But literally, actually, I memang fikir pasal Goofy movie. Before you even said it. Yeah. Goofy movie. Yeah, okay.
Might be a little obscure, but
no, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also a nice father and son movie.
Yeah.
So could relate juga
Exactly,
with your journey, personal journey.
With my
Last one. Is there any like quotes or kata-kata that you macam you keep for yourself to this day?
I can read you guys something. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
So this I carry with me every day.
It's a wallet, is it?
Yeah, it's my wallet. Lah.
Okay,
I mean, nowadays wallet dah jadi size ini kan. Last time is that.
Ah.
So this is my. So here, this was taught to me by my father and my grandfather. You know, they say this constantly as a reminder lah. And I would like to share it as well. It says, "I shall pass through this world but once. Any good thing that I can do or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now and not defer it, for I will not pass this way again."
And you keep that in your wallet.
Yeah, it's a reminder every day. Is the
So rungkaian dia adalah
you only live once. Make the best of it.
that is your grandfather and your late grandfather
Yes.
tells you that.
Yeah. So if I can read it again, I shall pass through this world but once. Any good thing that I can do or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now and not defer it, for I will not pass this way again.
Wow.
So seize the day.
Wow, what a show! What a show!
Film-esque. Tim Burton.
Wow, what a show! Okay,
Thank you.
thank you so much for sharing, Jess Muhammad, national athlete, national hero, national hero, for the wonderful story. Before we end, we give you a space for you to like, contohnya kalau lah ada community skateboard tu yang
Sure,
kita tak
yeah.
Ada orang
share tu,
dengar macam lebih.
like macam I want to know more, sebab there's actually a lot of questions, you know, from the social media. Diorang nak tanya pasal macam the gears, nak tanya pakai the gloves semua, and where do you do it, ada ke, diorang nak try, banyak je orang yang nak tanya. But it's because we did not I think throughout the suddenly kita orang, it's kind of like a athlete journey, macam how Adlina punya stories and all, macam we had last season. So this is also an athlete's journey. So bagi you chance untuk bagi tahu orang nak follow apa, follow siapa, and also shout out to whoever who made who you are, like your dreams achieved. Yeah.
Okay, first
shout out dulu pun boleh.
Yeah, shout out obviously to my family, you know, my mother, my sisters, my brothers for always being there for me, and obviously to my grandfather who's been a constant support in my life, my family, you know, my wife and my children included, you know, and that's my shout out to them, you know. Thank you for letting me be me, you know. So anyway, so if anybody would like any more information about downhill skateboarding, or have any queries about equipment, about how to go about it, you can follow on Instagram, Malaysia Skate Federation.
Malaysia Skate
And also specifically for downhill is Malaysia Downhill Skateboarding. You follow at Malaysia Downhill Skateboarding will be our page dedicated to downhill skateboard and gravity sports in general
in Malaysia community lah.
Exactly. Okay. And if you want to know more about the Malaysia Skate Federation, you can find them on Instagram at My Skate Federation. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
That is all.
That's all.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
We have to
having me.
do a part 2.
We have to do a part 2. Thank you everybody for listening. Kita orang sangat-sangat minta maaf sebab kita delay sikit. But that's okay. I think it's a very fulfilling episode. Being a bit biased now, I am his fan. Personally, after memang macam kalau whoever is listening out there, kalau macam boleh buat movie tu, boleh buat a write up about this, please do. And I think like your story daripada tu nampak macam panjang tapi tak lengkap pun sebenarnya kan.
No,
in detail.
In detail, yeah. I mean, I obviously had to leave a few things
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to give everybody a quick run through.
Yeah.
I thought lah was going to be quick. Suddenly I started.
But yeah, memang tak
sharing.
sangka.
Yeah.
Tiba-tiba Fee, our producer dekat belakang the time dah bagi check up to time. So thank you everybody for listening and for watching. Thank you so much,
Thank
Jess
you for having
Muhammad,
me. Thank you.
for coming, for even to share your personal journey.
Colourful.
Yeah, to everyone actually, because everyone like siapa yang type your name on audio platforms or even YouTube akan keluar ni, and people will understand and discover you and find you.
That's
and
great. Awesome.
appreciate what you've been through and also what you've done for yourself and also for your country, and maybe giving some people like hope, you know,
Yeah.
like to give yourself a chance. Yeah,
Sure, yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
Carl, anything?
Thank you so much, Arif.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Do follow again all the My Skate, Downhill,
Yes.
Skateboard Malaysia,
Yeah,
semua.
Malaysia Downhill Skateboarding.
Yes.
And Malaysia Skate Federation. You know, yeah.
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yes, on Instagram. And also do follow Better Call Sukan on all social media platforms. And kalau you guys tahulah siapa-siapa more about athletes and any sports yang you nak kita orang panggil, let us know and we will definitely call them. Alright, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap this show up. My name is Arif Daniel.
My name is Carl.
I'm Just.
And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Audio Plus.